If you're interested at all in ultralight sleep systems, this is what I'm going to show you. This weighs 1 pound. Up until last year, I used sleeping bags, usually one rated anywhere from 0 to 10 degrees, because I'm a warm sleeper and that was sufficient even in the winter. Or if I was in a trailer, I would carry blankets, a down comforter, or something like that. Then last year, I discovered a new idea. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about that idea and maybe stimulate some thought about a lighter and more effective way to sleep, where you don't have to carry so much stuff and you can wind up staying warm. So ever since the 70s, for years now, I've been a sleeping bag user, and they kept getting bigger and warmer, and the more extreme the conditions I would go into, the bigger the sleeping bag had to be. And of course, that means more weight too. Over the past year or two, I've tried a couple of down quilts, which is the topic of today's video. So a down quilt is not like a comforter on your bed that's just a square and hangs over the sides, but it's shaped much like a mummy sleeping bag. It has a foot pocket sewn into it so that your feet stay warm and covered, but the rest of it kind of drapes around you. There's no vent tube, there's no draft tube, there's no zipper, there's no hood. And so other than around your feet and lower legs, it drapes over you like a blanket, and they call them down blankets for that reason. The advantage of it is that because the foot tube is there, it stays in place around your legs and lets you sleep on your side, which is hard in a mummy bag. Because it's shaped somewhat like a sleeping bag, it's efficient, it's warm, and it's relatively form-fitting. So here's 7 reasons to make the change that I've discovered. Number 1, it's lighter. Because there's no zipper, because there's no hood, because there's no additional fabric, the down blanket literally weighs about 1 pound, the one I just showed you, which is right here on my desk. That's the size of it, and it's lightweight. Number 2, I just sort of mentioned, is the fact that it takes up less volume. That package, that's all there is. The other one that I have doesn't have the foot sewn into it. It is just a square blanket, and it packs up even smaller. And it's good for throwing over the top in additional cold weather. Number 3, it's just as warm, at least almost, as a sleeping bag. I have slept comfortably in down to below freezing, probably into the 20s. So it's not really a 0-degree bag, which, you know, at 0 degrees you want it to be conforming to you and really keeping the heat in. These don't do that, but down into the 20s at least, it's been very comfortable. If I need additional warmth, I can wear a fleece to bed or wear a wool cap to hold my heat in. Reason number 4 to switch is that there's no zipper issues, because there's no zipper. So all those hang-ups and pinches and fabric caught in the zipper and all that stuff that happens with the mummy bags isn't happening with the down blanket. And number 5 is that it's less restrictive. I like to sleep on my side a lot, and it works for that. It's not like I'm twisting around inside a mummy bag and being hung up. So it allows a little bit of freedom of movement. On a night when you're warm, you can throw a little bit of it off and get some cool air underneath. That also makes it very comfortable and very adaptable. Here's one that most people don't think of, reason number 6. When you're in a mummy sleeping bag and you've kind of burrowed into it because it's cold, your breath has a lot of moisture in it, and that's all collected inside the sleeping bag. There's less moisture with a down blanket because you're not doing that. If you do kind of burrow under it, the moisture in your breath can get out from under the edges of the sleeping bag, and it's not collecting on you. So it's a little less clammy. Here's one that most people don't think of, reason number 6. When you're in a mummy sleeping bag and you've kind of burrowed into it because it's cold, your breath has a lot of moisture in it, and that's all collected inside the sleeping bag. There's less moisture with a down blanket because you're not doing that. If you do kind of burrow under it, the moisture in your breath can get out from under the edges of the sleeping bag, and it's not collecting on you. So it's a little less clammy. And number 7 is the big one. This is the driving force for lots of people. It's less expensive. These are much more simple to make. You don't need the baffled construction and the foot boxes and all those things that you do in mummy bags, because there's no reason to seal the air in around you when in fact it's designed to actually let some air in around you. So the construction of it is cheaper, and you can just pile on multiples or a different kind of blanket for a little extra warmth without disturbing all the other advantages. So there you have 7 reasons why I made the switch, which might be of interest to you. Now, how do I use this? Well, I'm going to show you. When I'm sleeping in the car, it's very simple. I use these self-inflating sleeping pads that I found with a valve at the end. So when you undo the valve at the end and you lay the sleeping pad out, it inflates itself over the course of an hour or two while you're setting up camp. And then you close the valve, and it's like an air mattress, but it has foam inside it. So it's doing sort of the best of both worlds. To fine-tune the comfort of that, you can adjust that valve. You can open it up, squeeze a little air out, and you can fine-tune it to the softness or the firmness that you want. In my case, the ones I found were primarily for backpackers, and although they're heavy for backpackers, especially if you're an ultralight, they make a beautiful ultralight camp setup for a car camper or an overlander. And so what I do is I use 2. They're about 1.5 inches thick, and I find that for a person my size, 6'1" and well over 200 pounds, that I need a minimum of 3 inches of foam to really be comfortable. And so I'll stack these pads and make the bottom one firm and the top one soft, and it works out very well. Then I throw this down blanket over the top, and that makes a perfect bed right there. When I'm camping, I'll sleep in shorts and a t-shirt usually, at least, and maybe a fleece if it's chilly or something like that. I'm not really stripping all the way down. There is a layer of clothing that helps you stay warm at night, and then too much will make you cold and too little will make you cold. So your base layer, your thermal undershirt is perfect for sleeping inside a sleeping bag or a down blanket, or in the summer, a cotton t-shirt or something like that. And so I can lay directly on the pad. The air mattress pads don't need an undersheet or anything like that. A down blanket in place of a sleeping bag goes over the top of me. As you can see in the pictures, these don't take up a lot of room in the truck. So if I'm going to use the truck to camp in, I can have all my gear and even a little field kitchen down one side and sleep down the other side, and that works for a really minimal quick trip type setup. If I'm taking the trailer, you can see here that the air pad also fits in the trailer nicely, and where in a trailer like this many people use a foam pad or a memory foam mattress, these pads also work well for that. Again, just stack them till you're comfortable and throw your down blanket out and you're good to go. But finally, with respect to ultralight, if you look at my 0 degree mummy sleeping bag, it is quite thick. It has a lot of loft to it because there's a lot of fabric to it. It weighs about 2.5 pounds. It's rated to 0 degrees. The outside is a weather resistant nylon. The inside is somewhat like a sheet. It has a cotton blend on it that makes it feel really good against your skin, but that's a little heavier. So it's 2.5 pounds. This down blanket that I showed you here is 1 pound total and good down into the 20s. So it's not quite as warm as the thicker sleeping bag, but it does the job in most conditions, and I can certainly throw the other bag over the top of it to extend that comfort range a little bit. So I hope you found this video interesting or thought-provoking. It's one option that might work for you if you're looking to reduce your dependence or reduce the weight of your load on your sleeping system and do something that's a little less obtrusive and still maintain some comfort. If you're going the other way and you're going to pull a bed in a trailer and have a memory foam mattress and some down comforters and some big fluffy pillows, great. That's what trailers are for too, and it can certainly give you an element of luxury out in the woods. But I find that in trying to keep things light and simple, that these down blankets really work. Please like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know if you have any questions or comments in the comment section below, and we'll see you again outside.